All right. Listen, you know what? I'm pissed off, man. I went and got a coffee. Look at this coffee.
Yeah.
$6.50. Oh, no, I'm lying. $6.05. 5 cents is weird. Why is it 5 cents? I don't get that. But you see, it fits in the palm of my hand. I don't even have big hands. There you go. $6.05. What's happening with inflation, bro?
Yeah, that's what came to my mind straight away, man.
And I offered you a coffee as well.
People got to pay rent.
Yeah, they got to pay rent.
I missed you.
Yeah, but I asked you if you wanted a coffee, and then thank God you didn't accept because I would have paid $12.10. All right, so fucking... Anyways, Nick, we're going to go audit everyone in Penrith.
Rip them on you.
We're going to audit them, coffees, prices, everything, and serviettes if they give us serviettes.
Yep.
But it's a gun coffee. It's a fucking awesome coffee.
Consolation.
Yeah,
At least
it's a good coffee, bro, all right?
We'd probably be over there if it was a shit coffee.
Nah, what am I going to do? Complain to him? Excuse me, I don't like my coffee. I'm not going to be one of those ones. I just and just walk away.
The Stojafy army.
Nah, I can't say that, bro. They'll take us down, bro. They'll take us down. A Stojafy freedom movement.
Fucking oath. So you're a freedom fighter?
In a way, yes.
Yes.
I believe in basic human rights and basic human principles, just like your soul brother, Peter, that came on here, episode number 1. God bless him.
Yes.
You ran away from us. I thought I was going to spend more time with him.
True.
Anyways, bro, do you want some rakia?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. You've never had this stuff before, eh?
Nah.
All right. Again, these shot glasses are offending my ancestors, but it's all right. No, you can't win. You know why? Because you're white.
I thought I should bring you.
Yeah, but mine are fucking... Yeah, I should. I actually should buy some specifically for just... Oh, that's probably a bit too much.
Swear. So it's proper fuel.
Bro, you can clean your windows with this stuff too. It is proper fuel, bro. Yeah, have a smell of it. Yeah. There you go. You know what, Nick? This table's a bit too big, bro.
What is this?
Yeah, cheers. I need to have my shot before I can start,
Cheers,
man.
brother.
There you go, cheers. Yeah. Did you just shot that? You're not meant to shot that, bro.
Oh.
You're meant to drink it slowly. What is this? What's this?
You didn't tell me the rules, bro.
There's no rules,
you give
bro.
me a
What?
shot glass talking about shots.
Was it strong? Is it burning on the inside?
No, it actually tastes nice. Has a
Yeah,
nice
it does.
taste.
It does taste nice. All right, you want another one?
Maybe later, bro.
Yeah,
see
all right.
see
All
how
right,
this goes.
this guy's going to start passing out over here. Anyways, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Everyone good? Everyone happy? All right. How you going, Darren?
Great, man. Great. Very, very.
You can have your tea. You're about to drink and then you like put it back down. Go, please drink your tea. I will wait for you.
Fuck, that's awkward, man. Listening to the sip. But I'm well, man.
That's
Thank
all right, bro.
you for having me, bro.
It's a legit live. It's not a live podcast, but it's a real podcast. There's no major editing here. You know, you drink, you're making weird sounds. Just please don't burp or fart. I leave that for Nick, and we go from there. But it's just I like to create like just a real atmosphere, just like Joe Rogan, bro. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome. Thank you very much for coming down from Queensland all the way, just specifically for
Just
this.
for you, brother.
Yeah, not for, just for my viewers. Now, listen, we connected after Peter's episode.
True.
So number 1.
Yeah. He told me to hit you up, actually.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
He said hit up the brother. He spoke very highly of you. You know, he's done a many podcasts, and he knows I haven't done one yet.
Yep.
So the way that he shared with me about you was like, you're the fella to hit up.
I'll take it easy. I use Vaseline.
Yeah.
You think I'm joking?
Fucking
We're
hell.
gonna spread monkeypox, everybody. We shouldn't be joking about that because it's a real crisis out there in the world. It's a real pandemic
I don't
that's
watch
happening.
the news, bro. Is it
Yeah.
monkeypox?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going on. They talk about it sometimes and it disappears again. But anyways, I don't want to get myself cancelled, so we'll leave that to Peter. He can fight the good cause over there. Yeah, so we just we just take it easy. It's nothing serious, and I think I've got a good way of conversation to make people feel comfortable. You know, I wine and dine, and stop looking into my eyes so intently over there.
Oh, you're feeling it.
Yeah, we have to joke a bit. Just got to break the tension a bit in the room, bro. It's getting a bit hot in here.
Yeah.
Nick, where's the air conditioning?
What?
Nah. Oh, it's actually what's going on with the weather? It's a bit cold,
Tension.
No, not tension. Cold weather, bro. I'm not talking about tension now.
tension.
There's tension. There's no tension here. Stop it. So you came from you live in Queensland.
Yeah, just moved. I was in. Well, you know what, bro? I can introduce myself, and I'll walk through, and I'll.
You
catch
have
this
introduced
and-
yourself.
No, I haven't.
No,
bro.
you haven't. Let's
I
go.
haven't
Introduce yourself. I'm going to get another rakia. Let's go.
Well, the thing about
So, Darren, who are you? Tell us a bit
Yeah.
about yourself.
the thing about introductions, I need to preface my introduction, bro. So I was messaging you on Insta. I would like to speak to or speak into all these different diverse topics, and I was really struggling on how to thread it. And the way that I came up with was, so when you introduce yourself culturally, it's this very long story that takes a long time. So I do a very reduced version of that, but through telling the story of Darren, I've figured out this is how I can weave these topics.
All right.
So here we go.
Interesting.
Let's give this a go.
Let's take it away, bro.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I'm an Indian and Fijian man, born in Aotearoa, New Zealand, Wellington, Lower Hutt. I came to Western Sydney, Durrock country, when I was 3. We landed in Westmead, and then I grew up in Erskine Park. That was my childhood, Erskine Park. What happened in Erskine Park? Oh, Trinity Catholic Primary School. I went to this primary school. You called all the teachers by their first name. So shout out Tim. Shout out Trish. Yeah. Well, everyone had that look when you told them, who's your teacher? It's mine's Mr. This,
Miss
Mr. that.
O'Donnell.
No.
I can't even remember half of them, bro.
We had like Kim and Anne and...
Really, by their first name back in those days, in the 90s.
Yeah,
How old
bro.
are you?
32.
Yeah, so in the 90s. That's interesting.
It was... It really is interesting because I went to high school and I got down with the Mr. and Mrs. But there was something about that. I went to church when I was in Erskine Park in St. Clair. Actually, church, bro. Let's start on church. We're gonna do a tangent on church.
You just take it away, bro.
So I'm an Indian and Fijian man, right? So our indigenous spirituality or religion isn't Christianity. Like we got done by the British pretty hard.
Most of the world did, mate.
Yeah, India and Fiji though, just like Australia, there's a particular severity to how they got us. Part of that is colonization via the church. Oh man, there's so many ways to go here about how this has affected my family and my way and who I am.
Okay.
Let me just think about which way first. We have medicines, protocols, traditions, ways of being, ways of knowing that are complex and sophisticated. All of us, Indigenous people to Earth. And one of the ways, because people say to me, Darren, I understand how colonization comes via the gun, but what do you mean it came via Christianity? So part of this was, it was very important that we didn't know our way. We didn't know our stories. We don't know our genealogy, all these things, our connection to our God or gods. Then you're easier to control.
Yes.
So that was part of this. So then colonization, for reasons of survival, we adapted this Christian thing. So like, for example, my father's mother's father's father, they changed all their names around to Christian names, Christian first names, Christian last names, for business. So you can have a business, this kind of thing. Long story short, Fiji is heavily Christian. And then parts of India, heavily Christian influence. So I was born a Catholic, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I went to this Catholic church. Basic gift, brothers and sisters in Christ growing in faith together, bro. I'm not a Christian now, bro. I'm not a Catholic now, but beautiful people, man. Lots of personal development and growth happened for me there. Lots of area stuff as well. I've been thinking about, so this is my first podcast, first time speaking publicly. There's area things and conversations we'll have today that I've got to speak about it in a particular way because they're sensitive and they involve people I haven't spoken to in a long time.
Okay.
So kind of de-identify information.
Don't mention their names.
No, I won't. But still, it's pretty easy to place when you place Darren Singh and Penrith and then 99. You know,
It's up to you to navigate that way, bro.
Yeah. Let me just have a look.
I feel like we're going to get shut down, apparently, bro. You're making me a bit scared. What are you going to...
No, nothing like that.
What are you going to divulge, bro?
No, nothing like that, bro.
Fucking Area 51, bro. It's Area 52 here, yeah? Area 51.5.
There's one part just before I move on, because this is the thing, there's so much to talk about. And
Of course,
I don't know,
bro.
so I'm going to flag this.
I'm getting comfortable, bro. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
So I'm a counsellor and psychotherapist by trade.
Okay.
Been doing it for just under 10 years. high-level addictions. I was lecturing last year in the Masters and Bachelors of Counselling, but I'm full-time in my own business now. And there's this... So in psychotherapy, contemporarily now they refer to it like shadow work. But it's your... the wounds or child adverse experiences, just the experience of a child, it manifests in things. I'm resistant to saying wounds because it's not only just wounds, but that's a lot of what we focus on in psychology.
It's not just wounds, not just trauma. There's a whole
beautiful things. That guy Xavier Dagba, I don't know him on Insta, talks about the golden shadow. And there's light and dark, right?
Of course.
Just I've mainly got the language in this moment for the dark. So we'll just talk about you get wounds from your caregivers, for example.
Yes, from your parents.
And then psychotherapy is, okay, so these wounds are manifesting unconsciously. That's the shadow, the unconscious, in your way of being, which is your personality. So psychotherapy is essentially through this relationship, through a long time talking with someone, via the here and now, you have access to these wounds, and then you do some healing and recovery around it.
Shadow work.
Yeah, shadow work. Excuse me. Are those coughs like? What are those coughs like on the mic?
Brother,
all good?
I'm gonna
first podcast.
Bro, just hold on. It's just, millions of people will not see this. Maybe one day, but just calm down for a moment. Drink your tea, relax.
Yeah.
You see, it doesn't matter. People on Spotify might get a bit scared from that, but it's okay, bro.
No, I'm just thinking about the audio, bro. I don't know.
The audio will be hectic.
I'm all good.
It's going to be hectic, all right? Yeah. Don't worry about it. So you just take it easy, breathe into it, and don't worry about that just because I'm very interested in this topic and where you're going with this, and take us on a journey, bro.
Okay, so we got that's the Western way, the psychotherapy, the shadow work. For lots of brown and black brothers or Indigenous people who are born into this world and they're told implicitly and explicitly that they're secondary. So for example, I'm in year 3 and I'm in school. And when we were, how old are you?
34.
34. So you remember in primary school, those big books? Did you ever get those big books?
Which big books?
It's just big ass books, bro. All the story books.
Yeah, but what stories? Which ones are we talking about?
Any story. As long as you remember the book. So this was a history lesson I'm in year 3, right? And
you mean your big textbooks?
Nah, bro. It's like another book was the book of the fish, the rainbow fish with the scales. Did you ever do that?
Oh, yeah, okay, I understand. So storybooks and whatnot in primary school, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
year 3, bro. And
yeah, but you must have gone to a different fucking school to me, bro. We didn't have that much where we were, right?
Okay, yeah. So
you guys sound a bit bougie over there, man.
Maybe
some Trinity Catholic. I went to Herzl Public, bro. We didn't have this.
True.
Maybe we did. I can't remember.
Might have been bougie. I never thought of that, but it could have been. Anyway, so we're sitting around, we're looking at this big book, and they're flipping the pages, and it's Captain Cook found Australia. So, and I'm in year 3. I know what the color of my skin is, and I know that India is the same people as me. I know Fiji is brown people, and so at this stage I identified with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people.
Yep.
Because I saw them like we're kind of same. I'm year 3, but so I'm sitting there listening to this, and something hurts. Something inside me hurts, and something inside me is very resistant. It's like it's saying, "Oh fuck no!" Like this is wrong. But this is an example of us saying, you implicitly or explicitly get taught you're secondary. So there's the story of enlightenment is, the way of the West is superior, and any other culture you come from, the way that you look, dress, talk, medicines, traditions, everything is primitive, unintelligent, secondary.
Yep.
So there are wounds that many of us hold that are from our caregivers, but I'm using this term. I don't know anyone else who uses this term. I just made it in my own head, like the colonial shadow. So there's a colonial shadow that many of us have.
Okay.
And so it's like how the ways that we are, how it's informed by the wounds and the hurts of being born into this society where so like my old man, for example, he always says, he says some funny shit, man, but just he hates my beard and my hair, right? So the part of colonization India is you have to, they came, they told them to cut their hair. Like, so my
Yes.
surname is Singh, so we have the Punjabis have long hair.
Yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of life, the Punjabs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's
All farmers.
There's a grief there for me and a longing because I'm removed and but I'm slowly making my way back home in a way.
I've got a lot of Punjab friends, and I'm slowly learning a lot of the Indian ways and the words like Sat Sri Akal and you know, and how do you say hello? Like sometimes with Indians, like I'll be walking and I see a Sikh wearing a turban, I'll go Sat Sri Akal, and they're like, what?
They love it. Yeah,
bro, what
Sat Sri Akal like this.
You're like, oh, and I'm like, that's it. I keep on walking. I'm like, the guy might pull out a knife and stab me. Nah, but they're peaceful people, and I didn't understand that when I was in school, man. I feel like all these, everyone was always different to me, especially let's say we go into the Indigenous. When they say, oh, who identifies an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander? And when I was younger, I was like, well, what's that? So I always felt like they were different to me. They were outside of my world and my upbringing, because it was when I was in school, now that I'm thinking about it, it was us and then Indigenous Torres Strait Islanders, like
in
that.
Hurstville.
Anywhere. Okay, but I'm saying like now what I'm thinking about it was, okay, who identifies as this? What do you mean identifies? As a young child, I don't understand that. And even now when I'm thinking, because now I'm immersed in a culture and I love all my brothers and sisters of all cultures, and I feel, and we are one, and there's a lot to learn from that. The thing is, back then I felt like they were separate and they were different. But why? They're not. We're literally all children of God, children of Creator, but we're all children of Creator. Yeah. We're all the same. Yes. But why have we created something there, which is what you're touching on, that they're separate? You understand what I mean?
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
So the thing is, now when you continue on with your story, it'll be unpacked and uncovered that all that trauma, all that shadow work and all that aspect to come in and slice and remove us from that way of being, okay?
Yeah. Well, I want to meet you on something, because this is I'm a counselor, psychotherapist.
Let's have a session.
I'm someone who's also re-indigenizing himself, and I was first decolonizing. So and in the mainstream space of whatever it is I'm describing there's the talk of oneness. So that there is this oneness thing. And so in Indigenous cultures, we recognize both. So of course that we're one. Of course, we're all connected.
Yes.
But at the same time, we can't bypass the diversity and the separateness.
Of course, I agree.
There's you there, and I'm not saying you are.
No,
because
but I understand.
Stojafy isn't, bro. It's the yarn in the mainstream discourse. So I thought, because you brought it up, I just wanted to speak to it. It's very important that we honor both.
Of course.
Like when I moved to Canberra, they asked me to set up the family therapy project I was doing in the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community. This was in 2018. So I spent a lot of time with they would be my elders, but they didn't ask me to call them elders.
Okay.
Maybe lots of wise people. And so they would say to me, well, look, how many types of different butterflies are there? How many types of different ants? How many types of grass and trees? So there is a oneness, but it's part of our way. We have to understand the diversity of things and not rush to push it into one way, one law, one knowing. And that really sent me on a thing. that set me on going, how do I balance this? But let me rewind, and we'll come back to the story, and we'll keep going, because we'll pick up to many things. So where I was up to was there's psychotherapy and shadow work, and mainstream, the usual business as usual psychotherapy and shadow work. I'll say for my people, but that really extends. It extends to anyone who's told that they are secondary to the mainstream society. It doesn't hold space for the wounds that come from growing up here. So in psychotherapy, they talk about your parents responded to you in a particular way, and as a result, you formed a behaviour, and it's all about getting your needs met. So it's the same thing. So there's parents, but then there's the greater society. And then we've all formed ourselves in particular ways, how we walk, talk, dress, the rest of it, even but more importantly, our identity. Like I have a cousin, I love him. Bro, what nashi? I'm Aussie, mate. You know, and he's full blown Aussie, but he's like he doesn't look like what his accent is trying to tell me that he is. You know, I don't know any other way to put it. So one last point on how I think on one of the parts that really hurt about colonization and the internal wounds is, so you go to any of the Pacific Islands. I've been to Fiji and Samoa, right? And in the islands, in like your family's house, there is pictures of Jesus in every room, and it's the picture of white Jesus.
Yeah.
So I'm no expert on Jesus, but we know that he wouldn't have been white, right? So you've got
Black Jesus.
yeah, you've got so for our people, there's this thing, God is a white fella. So God has different eyes, nose, hair, skin, dress, medicines, foods. And the level of shame that creates unconsciously inside a person is it's hard to describe.
Interesting.
Because you're going, God's white, and I'm not. Like, look at me, I'm different. And you read 12 Rules to Life?
Yes.
Chapter 1, JP talks about the lobster, and he talks about the internal mechanism we have to track where we are in the social hierarchy.
Yes.
So yours, lots of things, but then one of the things is we have this internal tracker. God's white, I'm not, and I'm ashamed of who I am on a fundamental level. And in chapter 1, he connects ultimate life outcomes to where you place yourself in the social hierarchy. Yep. So addictions, mortality rates, just your overall quality of life.
Yeah.
And it's quite a layered and nuanced story to why my people are so sick. They're not well.
Yeah.
And this is part of it. So I was up to St. Clair. I was going to church. Basic gift was in my youth group, but I just wanted to do we just did a why am I Christian, and just some of the pieces in that. So from St. Clair, I went to school in St. Dom's down here in Penrith. Bro, my high school years was the yin and I love the yin and yang symbol. The Taoist symbol. I use it a lot.
Yeah.
Light and dark, bro. Yeah. It was an all boys school, Christian brothers school. Like Peter, I met Peter there. I met lots of boys there. Lots of brotherhood, love, and connection there.
Interesting. Good.
For me, for Darren's, there was that. The dark was, it was bullying, man. I was bullied like heavily. Indian Fijian, no one understands it.
Yes.
He's like, what the fuck's an Indian Fijian? Look different, all this kind of thing.
The food was different.
One of the reasons. So there's. For example, the definition of trauma is it's not what happened to you, it's your response to what has happened to you. And then the difference between why, in case that's confusing, the analogy is you cut your hand.
Okay.
So let's say person A and person B cut their hand. And person A gets a lot of sunlight, a lot of rest, nutrition, vitamins, minerals. They move their body, they like exercise, they have good social connection. And person B, none of those things, maybe like V's and pizza every day, and no I love pizza, but they're not as healthy. Yeah. So in theory, person A's cut will heal faster than person B's. Yeah. And maybe the person's B's might end up infection or whatever. This is just theory, just for the purpose of this analogy. Yeah. So it's the reason why trauma isn't what happened to you, it's your body's response to it.
Okay.
And there's a key in that analogy. What's the difference between someone a severity of trauma or not? And it's the conditions of their life. It's your I know you're into plant medicine and that. So set and setting. You familiar with like set and setting?
Take us through it.
You haven't heard any of those psychonauts, mushy people talk about set and setting?
Maybe, but just
bro, well, there's no use in me bringing up set and setting. If set is like your mind and the self, and setting is around you. So basically, conditions is a container that hold that. What's your conditions?
Okay.
So a person's conditions means they have a greater resilience to bad things happening to them, or not as good. So for Darren, I came from a pretty broken home, man. There's a family domestic violence, drug use. I've been thinking about how to talk about this in my first podcast. I'm not comfortable yet telling those stories, so I'll just say family domestic violence.
That's okay, bro.
And because of how splintered our family is, and I see it as it's many things. One of the greatest container is colonization. So why we had to move here was you have this story, the West is better, but then
Okay.
you lose yourself and you lose your family and you lose the village, you lose tribe connection. So myself and lots of my cousins that I see, we don't have the men in our lives breathing into us. This is how to be a man. This is what masculinity is. So there's this lostness. So there's Darren in high school with this lostness, yearning for some all of these kind of things. Maybe what I'm saying here is that my resilience wasn't as high, possibly. It's making me think about though. The opposite of what do you reckon the opposite of addiction is?
I've got no idea, man.
I had to guess, bro. What would you say?
Literally, I've got right now, my mind's blank in regards to that. No, I'm being honest with you. You're just taking me so deep, but there's a lot of energy and emotion going on. So just keep on,
bro. So people say sober. Like when I ask like a
fair enough. My mind didn't go there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of something else, but okay, sober would be one.
Well, when I ask the average Joe, right, the average fella, that like non-clinician, non-practitioner, person on the street, I say, "What do you reckon it is?" Being sober. And that makes a lot of sense, especially when you are an addict, because
my mind didn't go down that way because I'm not an addict at all. You know what I mean? I'm trying to actually think what else is another thing from addiction, and I'm trying to think of other stuff.
Where'd you go, bro? Do you want to?
Sorry, no, but I wasn't thinking of sober. I wasn't actually thinking in drug use or that term of stuff. I was actually thinking of something of other things.
Yes.
You know, but that's very interesting that you say that. So that's okay.
But so what? Where it's at now is that the opposite of addiction is human connection. So then how they I'll just quickly walk through how they found this, because it's not just if you're with your boys you're not going to have any addiction, right? It's right connection and right relationship with people. The study is Rat Park. You can YouTube it. Okay. They first have a rat in a cage with cocaine and water.
Yes.
I'm just going to give the real summary. Yep. Cocaine. So they made up all these ideas about how substance use works from that. And then someone, man, I should know this person's name now. So someone's come along and go, well, let's try something different. Like, let's put all these rats with all their people together in a cage. So they made this rat park with the playgrounds and a whole bunch of rats run around and all that. And they put the drugs, coke, whatever it was, water and food. And the rats were just having all this fun, having all this sex, doing all these things. And they didn't touch the coke. And then this sent the field down this road of human connection. So there's something very tangible about connection, but these are the things that ancient indigenous cultures was common sense to them. Yep. So their societies were created around village, community, tribe togetherness. But the Western investigation method is slowly catching on. Just quickly while we're here, so the US Surgeon General's come out, and not that I care about that role. But he goes, social isolation is equivalent to smoking like 15 cigarettes a day. So the power of human connection, man, and relationships and togetherness in the English Western discourse is really emerging right now. A little bit later, I might talk about post-traumatic growth because it's in PTG, post-traumatic growth. Before we leave this place in conversation, so this is my favorite quote, man. One of my favorite quotes. I did family therapy I still do family therapy now in my private practice. Yeah. We are biologically, cognitively, spiritually, physically wired to love, to be loved, and to belong. And when these needs aren't met, we don't function like we're meant to. We ache, we fall apart, we get sick, we numb, we hurt ourselves, we hurt others. So this quote, it's saying we're wired to love and to be loved and to belong. So, and all of these things I've just mentioned, right? The opposite of addiction is human connection. It's saying, man, that this relationship between people is as important as oxygen. So we're starting to know this. Relationships as important as oxygen. In your adolescence, so when I was in high school, there's a developmental stage where you're a normal human being, so this connection is as important as oxygen, but peer group relations is life and death doesn't do it any justice. Like you'd remember, like you'd think about teens, you'd think about, you're with your crew, you do anything to fit in. Yeah. Yeah. So these years, man, at DOMS, this is why I said light and dark. I had a lot of rejection, a lot
Okay.
of disconnection.
Yeah.
And this pain, because people would ask me COVID time, they'd say, bro, so how come you question things? Why are you questioning the vaccine? Why are you questioning all this? And I had to really think about it. This is where I'm at with it now. It might change. When you're placed on the outside of society, you do a couple of things. So, well, I did a couple of things. One thing is I'm on the outside, so I'm looking at things like, what the fuck is this? But the next thing is the part of you that wants to fit in. It's analyzing people and behavior. It's going, what is this person doing that I'm not doing? And how can I do that myself to have this love and belonging? So being on the outside of society has given me an eye to question. And remember, I said I was in year 3, and I was listening. Captain Cook found it, and it hurt, and I didn't believe it. There's a strong sense of this story of society is bullshit. It feels like, and I'm so glad that my ancestors are still connected into me right here, and they're speaking. So there's those things. I think the psychological answer is, actually the psychological answer is connected to this African proverb. It's this one about if a child doesn't belong in the village, they'll burn it down. There's a. I'm imagining that your bro here's Jamie. Like, Jamie, search it up. We got to
Nikki, get onto it.
To search up this African
He's
proverb.
literally like Jamie, bro.
No, I hate when I reference something, bro, and I don't do it properly. So I don't know that proverb, that African one.
Let's search it. You keep on talking. I'm going to search it up here. Keep on taking us through it.
Yeah. So the proverb was about if you're not accepted or belong. If a child doesn't get that from the village, then they would seek to destroy it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of not that I seek to destroy any village, but it's you're on the outside.
Got it here.
Yeah.
So the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Yeah. So that anyone listening to that, I think Darren's going to be a terrorist, but I'm not. I'm not up to all of that. But we're just using these ideas.
So African proverb: they are very few things as painful and destructive to our psyche as being rejected from a community we depend on.
Oh, okay, so they've psychologized it.
So that's just going.
Well, that's
through
it,
this.
man. That's it.
I understand exactly what that's going on. Saying the child who is not embraced by the village will eventually go to burn it down. And you know what? I feel like we can see that with a lot of kids in today's society, what's going on, how they're not embraced with a lot of, especially if you take it to America. Like I watched on TikTok scrolling, I think there was a young girl that killed her mother, and the type of stuff that's going on,
damn.
But you're like, what drives that? How does that happen? Because I've never imagined that in my life. I love my parents no matter, and I've had my own traumas. I say traumas because I think trauma is thrown around too easily. You as a psychotherapist can let me know, but I think everyone's saying trauma, 100%. But it's like, it's not really trauma, it's life.
Yeah.
And it's your reaction to it, which is what you said. But you see, I was accepted in my family. I was accepted by my cousins. I was accepted by in the Orthodox religion. There is no you're bad. It's everyone's. It's family. So that's our Serbian Macedonian culture. It is togetherness.
Yes.
But when you bring it into Western, and I'll say white loosely because I'm olive skinned, but you bring it into the Western world, it's like it's very different. It's very cold.
Yes.
It's a very cold way of living. So, but from where we come from, there's a lot of warmth, a lot of family gatherings, and you are loved. And a lot of our parents and you say caregivers show their kids love.
Yes.
One of the greatest gifts that I was given was the love of my mother.
Yes.
And she gave that to me. She still does to this day.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids and a lot of people don't have that because their parents don't know how to give it.
Love you, mum. Shout out, mum.
Oh, she's fantastic. Yeah. But that's the thing there, bro.
Yeah, this is why we're here. Your mum. This is testament to your mum and dad, bro.
Yeah. My dad, he's starting to come there now. He's all right. He's a bit of a late bloomer there. But a lot of, you see, now we're going back to this young girl that killed her mum. Like, how does that happen? Where? What happened? What's going on with this world? And that's why this proverb is very interesting and you bring it up. So let's bring it back to that. Keep on going.
I thought I mentioned PTG, so we might just go there because we're on the topics of all of this.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic growth. You said something before I wanted to catch it. Okay, it was about whiteness. Okay, let's see if I can remember all of this. We'll go there and then we'll go there.
Just take it.
So whiteness, right? Peter and I chop this up all the time. It isn't obvious. It isn't clear to me that this society is anybody owns it. Although when you're European, it's kind of enmeshed with your identity. So you go, I'm European and this is a European society, so this is mine, I own it. And then for all the Europeans that have big hearts and are aware of the history, they're living with a lot of guilt and shame about this. They have this like white guilt and white shame.
Interesting.
And for me, so I look at, you look at the Celtics, the Indigenous Europeans,
Yep.
and I say these three things that the Indigenous cultures around the world, like Macedonians, all of us, we lived in the society before this one with a deepened reverence and connection to each other, this earth and the source of God, whatever that is for all of us. And so this is kind of the opposite of all of that.
Yeah.
And I don't get, I'm not trying to say when I do this juxtaposition of ancient Indigenous cultures and this one, I'm not saying there's white and there's black and fuck all you Europeans. I'm not saying that.
Of course, I get you.
Yeah, I see it as we're in this thing, and I just don't know what language to use. So I call it the Western way.
That's fine.
But I'm just not sure who owns it, man.
The ones that want to dominate.
Yeah. Well, that's I have my own ideas about that, and that takes us down so many rabbit holes. And
one thing I'm going to say is, if you look at all the actually not any, all the Indigenous cultures, and what happened to them. Go back to Europe and what happened to the European cultures.
Yes.
Go to the Slavics, the Celts, any culture, and who started coming through to decimate and control the empires and how it always runs. And what, through my teachings and what I was learning with my mentor and my family and my friends, is it's to lose connection to oneself and where you come from.
Right.
And the connection that we have, and the most important connection, is before you, before you, before you, before you, and that line. And you can't lose that. It's like your bloodline, your family's line, and trace it back all the way to actually see where your genes come from. And you just keep on going back, and there's traditions and teachings there before the Western way or the white way.
Yes.
We won't even go down that path. But if you look at it, people now, it's like you look at, you got telephones, you got business, you got corporations, you got Coca-Cola, you got McDonald's, you got all this stuff. It's taken us completely away from how we used to live. And you ask yourself how and why. And I guess that's just the nature of progression and nature of control. All right. And I'll always bring it back to a certain few people at the top that just want to capitalize and take over everything. So that's my view on all of that.
Right.
But the thing is, not everyone, a lot of people have forgotten who they are and where they come from.
Yeah, and from an Indigenous cultural perspective, that is fucking wild, bro. So like if you immerse yourself in the Maori Indigenous way, or even the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, knowing who you are and where you come from, knowing like your roots, like you described your ancestors 10,000 generations back, is that's bread and butter, man. That's just some normal everyday thing we're supposed to know. And then you bring us here to 2024. Nobody can tell us that it's very rare to find someone that knows their people that far back and their way.
Okay, have you thought about how far back you go and how your line started somewhere?
Of course.
Nick, yes? You'll go down the street to someone there. It's like, go ask someone that's on TikTok at the moment, and they're like, what the hell, get away from me. Like, and you're like,
uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable. It's like, have you ever, I've put thought into how far, like where did my ancestry come from? It's like, it's not important. It's extremely important.
Yes.
It's the most important. Like when you, back in my dad's village, my mum's, like not village. Oh yeah, but let's go back in time. You'd know, oh, that's Bill's son. Oh, that's so-and-so's son. Or that's that person's daughter. You know, so you know the parents here. No one knows that. It's just you sort of losing that. It's diluting. That's why there's so much issues, I believe, going on at the moment, and why people are so fucking lost.
Exactly. Me too. I'm with that as well. You know, they say, this is the English translations, right? If you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. Or if you're a tree without roots, you're going to fall in the wind.
Yes.
So all of these are proverbs across cultures through time around the world saying what we're talking about. If you don't know who you are and the way of your people, that you're lost. And we are lost. And via this lostness, we've been you can say brainwashed or impregnated with ideas and ideologies that aren't ours. So now we're serving capitalism, or and yeah.
I think, yeah. And one thing that really gets me while we're on the topic of people not know, it's like, oh, people don't take their family's surname or they go on a different tangent. Like, that's fine. Do whatever you want. But you still got to understand that the blood that runs through your veins is still coming from somewhere. And as much as, and especially in the new age that we feel that we're souls that are incarnated, that keep on coming back, which is fine, you still have DNA from some line on this earth.
Yes, well, that's the polarity. So when we start talking about souls, we're in the oneness realm. I used to call it 5D, but it's not 5D. It's just we can call it the God perspective or the interconnected perspective.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's the third dimensional perspective, which is a genealogy, a DNA, a blood, a separation, and our spiritualities held both of those.
Yep.
You honor, there's a way to honor whatever. What you're born into, whilst so the Indians say like Brahman is God, that's Brahman, that's their way, like Godhead, and Atman is the piece of cloth that we're cut from. It's the God in us all. So we can there's a way that we can balance both. You know the thing, you know what we're talking about now, which is being lost. Kind of deep. If I bring us back to it's not to the surface, but a little bit more shallow.
Okay.
There was the ideas of human connection, community, tribe, connection to each other, this layer. As a counselor and psychotherapist, bro, with all these deep thoughts and ideas and yarns, I found a way to discourse the same thing, but at different levels, depending on who I'm talking to. So, I reckon you'll see these dots, right? So, quick yarn on this post-traumatic growth. Have you heard of post-traumatic growth?
No, I actually haven't, no.
Lots of people know post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
And that's from the DSM, and that's a whole bloody thing. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Post-traumatic growth, all I know is one of the scientists, his name is Tedeschi, because I'd have to write Tedeschi et al. So Tedeschi et al. They were interviewing thousands of trauma survivors.
Yeah.
I don't think they were looking to find anything in particular. They were just researching. And what they found was many of the survivors were reporting this growth. So that's significant. Whoa, like the growth? What's this about? So they started analysing the conversations thematically and all their smart scientific ways of analysing the data, right? And then they found these, there are these elements, and the word that they say is that promotes the growth, because they're trying to understand it. How come these people who experience trauma have this growth? Like, this is so important. We need to understand it so we can help people with it. And there's five. I think there's around 5 of these elements that create post-traumatic growth. One of them, I'm going to focus on 2. One of not the 2 that I'm going to focus on is that thing about the conditions of your life. So they call that maybe a client's characteristics. And that's really important. That's why I'm just flagging it. But the 2 that they found that highly correlate with post-traumatic growth is positive human connection, and then and we're going to talk about these the second one now, which is a deepened spirituality or religion's transformation.
That makes sense.
Yeah, man. Before we get into that, so I think it's an important preface for everyone. So with the investigation of psychological trauma, we're looking at what makes and breaks a human being. So what is right for us and what's wrong for us? In my field, man, in my space, you can't even talk like that anymore. There's no such thing as everyone's truth is whatever the hell they want it to be, and you can't say right or wrong. It's like how they're changing gender. Like, so when you and I grew up, we knew that if you had a penis, you're a man. If you had a vagina, you're a woman. And like in the islands, there are people who are a middle gender, but the way that that's done is there's societal protocols. So for example, what we say in English? Maybe we'll say in English transgenders, right? So there's a third transgender in Fiji, for example.
Okay.
But if you're a man that's gone to cross to be a woman, there's particular cultural protocols that you wouldn't do lots of women's cultural protocols, because there's this knowing that you're this
okay.
but right now in the West, so there's this thing that there's no truth, there's no right or wrong, and
Yeah, I know.
you can be whatever you feel like you can be, and there's things.
They're taking you further away from who you really are.
Yeah, and post-traumatic growth, right? Or the study of psychological trauma is we're looking at what the hell is a human, essentially, because you're seeing on the deepest level where we break and how we break, and then we're trying to reverse engineer how to help someone, how to not fix them but heal and recovery. Those are the words.
Yeah.
So then we're finding now what's good for us and what's not. So we're finding that we need to be together, which that's not really obvious from the ways of this society, right? And then the next thing is, why do we need spirituality? Why do we need God? So this society sits on all that crap, all the ways of our ancestors, indigenous cultures beforehand, religion. It's all shit. Like we don't need. What we need to do is work, and pay taxes and take annual leave and watch entertainment. But that's about it. And the reason that this spirituality and religious belief is highly correlated with post-traumatic growth is when someone experiences trauma, man, like child abuse and neglect, adverse childhood experiences, even as an adult, everything strips away. All the things you're focused on, and what you're left with is why and what. Why me? Why do I live? What is the purpose? What the fuck is going on? You're left with the fundamental questions about life. And you know what I was describing before, you have a job and you pay taxes and you take leave, you want entertainment, da-da-da. This way of living doesn't provide the answer to those questions.
No.
So for many people, when they experience the trauma, they begin to wrestle with those questions, man.
Yep.
And it can get really, really dark, especially if you're gripping onto what the story of this society is, which there's nothing, or there's no meaning, there's no purpose. But the people who experienced or resulted in, however we talk about it, post-traumatic growth, found a way to answer those questions. So they have a deepened spiritual connection. They've gone back to God in whatever form that is. And so that's a proper... There's many things happening here. There's many implications there. So one of the things for Darren, like if you look at Darren's website, it's counselling and psychotherapy, weaving ancient and indigenous cultural wisdom with this Western investigation method. So it's doing that. It's weaving that. It's saying, look, one of the responses to trauma is connecting back to the source of this life.
Yeah.
That's really exciting for me. I lead people on that road a fair bit, but it's not about me doing my own version of colonisation. It's asking them and just sitting by them while we explore it.
No, beautiful. Hold that, because we're going to go into that work. But the thing is, you're saying, so when the interesting thing is like when people concentrate on this life here and something happens, they're asking why and what, and they don't understand, and they're looking that they don't have the answers.
Yes.
The funny thing is, if you go on a mushroom trip or you start taking psychedelics, or you go down the path of religion or going back down the ancient things, they start providing you with answers. So this 3D world, or this world of work and capitalism and all that, which I don't have an issue with because I'm a part of that.
Yes.
But what I personally been able to do in my 20s was I went on a path of spiritual growth. So I delayed other aspects of my life, but I deeply went into spiritualism, and I started to not understand, but start seeking, answers to my questions that I had. And I did that in my 20s. I'm still, I think you do that for the rest of your life, but I'm able to understand what happens as a part of, it's a spiritual world and there's different aspects, and you can find answers easier instead of having like some type of crises.
Yes.
So that's, I find that interesting because
Exactly.
And
Conditions.
I always questioned, why am I so far behind in my work life? For example, I've got managers that are younger than me telling me what to do and things like that. And it's sort of like they don't have a depth within themselves to understand compassion or human nature or even connection. But I do, but that's because I went through a period of time, like 10 years, you know, of that spiritual growth and seeking, which I am forever indebted to, because I literally, you know, even though I struggle now with knowing who I am as a person, like trying to, we through this podcast, actually, bring it back to the podcast, I'm starting to grow even more and bring everything in. Why? Because I'm literally connecting with people every single time I have a conversation. And even when I was growing up, and I'm going to tell you a bit about this so that because you're a psychotherapist, when I was growing up, I always felt lonely. No matter how, I was always with people, I always felt lonely. I didn't realize why. I always felt alone. But now as I'm older in this, I don't feel lonely anymore. I feel, even though I've got fewer friends, I don't try to always fit in. I'm just who I am, but I've never been more fulfilled and feel better within myself. So I find that an interesting aspect as well.
I'm because we're on a podcast, man. I'm not gonna psychoanalyze you.
No, but we can talk about it after.
Inviting me into that, yeah.
No, that's my conversation style, because we're going to be talking after anyways, and we've formed a connection anyways, bro. But you don't have to psychoanalyze me now, because I don't need to know people don't need to know the Freudian self.
Yeah, and
it's like, how much pornography have you watched? But that's okay. Anyways, take it.
Well, bro, from your story, I jumped in and I dropped that word conditions. One of the reasons I'm here is I do a few things in my practice. One of the other reasons, this is the primary reason, was to see you, is I had a trauma training. I was training this team of therapists in Newcastle. And you know, when you do something, you leave and you think, oh, how could I have improved? And one of the things is I really should have spent more time on this conditions part. So I'm going to connect what you were sharing, your spiritual undertaking and growth to. So there's this idea that if we have particular conditions, and then that idea sits on, there's got to be some kind of truth, because these particular conditions give us this resilience and this strength. And in the absence of those things, for example, human relationship, we are very sick, right? We get sick, we hurt others, we hurt ourselves. What is part of my passion now, and has been part of my passion for a little while, is just acknowledging or seeing, and this is what sent me into the past as well, that the conditions that we're talking about are the conditions of our Indigenous ways of knowing and being. So it feeds into the ideas that possibly we were a lot stronger in the past, that we were far more advanced. Well, I know that in the Indian way, man. Like if you look at Sanskrit, if you look at the sages, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the things they were talking about, bro, we can't really do now.
No.
So it's exciting connection that cutting edge scientific investigation is substantiating the ways of the past. Do I think we can go back? No, but we can just apply the wisdoms from there to here and move forward, because we got quite a we got some problems to solve, man. And you know, the way that I talk, it can sound like Darren's beefing with this, Darren's beefing with that.
Beautiful. We love beef.
I'm not beefing with capitalism. I just name it because that's the. In psychology, they derive meaning or beliefs from action. So if you look at all our actions, we work and what we do and da-da-da. That's why I said we're serving capitalism. I want to go back to I'm going to go back to Dom's, my school, St. Dom's, and we'll keep going from there.
Yep.
So that school, I was it was light and dark. What did I do after school? I went to Western Sydney University. And I did a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology.
Yep.
Before that, I was in Mrs. Chubb's office, bro. So I was in my, what are those people? That careers counsellor.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the careers counsellor's office, and I wanted to do law only for just making money, no other reason. Yep. She's telling me, and I think it's really good she told me this. She's basically telling me, you're not going to get that ATAR. Like, you're going to miss law. Okay, so it's like the range you're going to fall in is like between 70 and 80, and there's bonus points and all that, but this is how far you can get. And she shows me psychology. It's a weird word. I didn't understand the word. But in the ATAR book, it was written human behaviour, and I can't tell if I'm making this up or not, but I feel like relationships was in there.
Okay.
But maybe it wasn't. So at that time, I might have been in year 10 or 11. At our school at the time, man, we had a lot of leaders of crews in the Western Sydney area. We had, you might call them heavies, man. We had some heavies at our school, and there was lots of drama going on. And I was creating relationships with different people, mainly the older boys. The boys in my year they were off me a bit. And we had this incident when I was in year 10 where and the crews were all in. It was so interesting watching everyone at DOMS be together, and then we leave school and it's a different thing. But there was some drama between two crews, and so this is part of that de-identified part of this. But somebody's non-crew related female family member got done, and it wasn't in a street fight or anything. They just knew who she was related to, and they got her. She ended up in a coma. And I've got a younger sister, so I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister, and we're very close. I love her dearly. There were times in my life where I had thought about suicide, man, and in those times, she was my reason to live. Like I love sis. And then my mother, the way my mother raised us, so my parents separated in year 9. When I was in year 9.
Okay.
So sometimes she worked 4 jobs, and we never missed a meal. We always had money to go and do things in that, and she was a very hard worker. But she was raising me as the eldest son, as you're doing all this school and that, but you're running the ball next. Like I'm passing you the ball, you carry the family.
You're the oldest, man.
Yeah. So I had this sense of responsibility, and I love my sister deeply, and this thing happened, and I thought, nah, I can't risk this. I cannot. There's no way I can be involved in things going on in the area, and something happened to my sister, and then because at the time I was thinking, we're gonna go to jail. Like boys are getting locked up, going to juvie, Cobham, and that. I'm like, I don't. This is so all the we all sat in a particular place in school, but then when you get into year 11 and 12, there's a senior yard. So all the smart kids are in the senior yard. So I was like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going to the senior yard, and that's when I met Peter. Smart as, bro. But the smartest kid in our school was this guy Farhan. I love Farhan, bro. Shout out to Farhan. I was thinking, can I just talk about Farhan for a second? He's gonna.
Bro, this is your show. Go for it. This is your podcast, bro. This is your. I feel like I'm a guest here. You take it away.
Thanks, man. My introduction to Islam was through Farhan.
Beautiful.
So I'm in year 7, and brother Farhan, he's got his beard, or he looked the same from year 7 to like now. He's looked like a 45. We say, bro, he looked like a 45-year-old man, but
that's his maturity level.
Bro, he from this young age, he goes, these are my values and this is what I believe. To profanity, substance use, how to treat people with kindness, love, generosity, respect. He didn't fold, man. I've never seen him fold. He came out to parties, he did everything, but no, he didn't do the things that were against his beliefs.
Beautiful.
The whole time at school, he was just he was love and kindness and welcoming, but then had boundaries too. Like I think he knew, like if he only had a couple of cents left and needed that to fill his own cup, he wouldn't give that to someone else.
That's a good way to live, man.
So I have I grew so much respect for Muslims from meeting Farhan.
Beautiful.
And he was the smartest kid in our school, and they were all there. The brother Peter, he started. I said, bro, because I thought I'm smart. Like I know how come I'm not getting these 90s and A's and all that. So he was giving me his essays and that, and I was learning off him. That starts a new chapter of Darren's life, because I met these boys and different things started happening. When I went to Western Sydney University for this bachelor's, right? I chose psychology because I'm talking in circles here, but you'll catch it.
No, you're not. Just go for it.
I could feel in my life that I was making relationships with people to help. I was like helping via relationships. Like I told some of the bros when I'm saying goodbye to you, I was like, you just come with me. I was like, what are we doing with, what's happening with all this? We used to steal chocolates from Woolies and take it to school and sell it to the rich year 7s. Like we used to do all this kind of thing. all sorts of stuff, bro. And I just felt called to help, and the word relationship I think jumped out at me, so I chose that route, arts and psych. It was a 3-year degree, took me 5 years. I fucked around, bro. We were partying every day except Tuesday, because Tuesday there was nothing on.
Good.
So like Wednesday was the Eastern. Did you ever go to the Eastern in Bondi?
No.
Then there was the Cross on Thursdays. It was Trademark.
I never used to do that stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
I never used to go.
It's a
I only
waste
went to
of money.
I only went to Trademark maybe once or twice.
Oh, yeah.
Couple of. That's what I said to you. Like, I'd love to do that stuff now, but even now I'm just too
your
old
20s.
for that.
Yeah.
I didn't go out that much to do those things in the city in those high end clubs. My mates had a lot of fun. I had.
There's nothing good there, man.
It's a good experience, but really I was I don't know. It was just a bit of a different path. I can't even. No.
Maybe better path.
Yeah, that's all right.
I look back and it was fun. It was a big waste of money, and what we were doing to our temple, like just that amount of alcohol is. I'm probably still recovering from it today, especially at the age of 18. So you finish up with this degree in arts and psych. You can't do nothing with a bachelor of psych. So then it's like, what to do next?
What do you mean you can't do nothing with a bachelor of psychology?
Can't, man. You're not a psychologist. You have to do like a few more years. To become a psychologist, or you have to specialize like I did in counseling, like do a postgraduate.
So
in
more
counselling.
brainwashing.
Yeah, more of it. Oh, yeah, but let me tell you about this postgrad.
Tell me.
Western Sydney University. So Penelope Gardner, I think she runs the counseling and psychotherapy. Bro, so at the time the masters wasn't there. It was only the postgraduate.
Okay.
And it is 2 years. It's not what you think it is, because Penny. I feel like Penny is the female Gandalf. Like she's an older lady, man. She'll be with you for like 5 seconds, and not just the strength of her spirit and knowing and training, and I can feel that she's done this postgraduate diploma and the Masters of Counselling in this way that is true. I'll tell you what it is, because no one else does it like this. It is like a 2-year shadow work course on yourself.
That's crazy. That's good.
You deep dive your personality, your wounds, your beliefs, your values. And that is the true psychotherapy way, because you're meant to know when you're with a client, where is you and where's the other person. So because someone's talking and you might be having a reaction to that person, but it's just yours shit. It's your beliefs and your values. And you got to make sure like what... So you leave this if any of my employers are listening to this part, right? So you leave this postgraduate diploma, and you actually, I felt like, and a lot of people give the feedback, you don't actually know how to counsel too much, but you know yourself, and you've gone on this 2-year road of healing, and you're completely transformed. But in terms of the tangible skills, which when I was lecturing at AIPC, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of teaching the skills for the workforce how to counsel, but it was none of the inner work. And I really rate what Penny and Amanda Webb and her crew do there. So this was another transformation of Darren. All of a sudden, unexpected, I was just launched into this. So lots of people doing this course, man, they break down, they have midlife, they have these crises, they cry and they leave, because this is how intense the course is. Like, they really push you into yourself.
Wow. I want to do it now. I'll go fucking do it. Another 5 years of my life starting, I want to go do it.
Bro, I finished it, and I was trying to tell people, everyone around me, every human needs to do this. But I don't know what it's going to be like with if Penny leaves. It'll probably change. Because
she needs apprentices, bro.
What I feel like... I shouldn't say this is all Penny, because who knows, and she might get in trouble. So whoever's decided to run the course like this, they're balancing these skills, but then what you know. So if you're looking for a personal trainer, what kind of personal trainer are you looking for?
I've never looked for a personal trainer in my life, but if I was looking for one now, because I'm an athlete, bro. Let's be honest. I'm an athlete. I don't need one.
Yeah, if you have to look for
I would look for someone that's actually living by what they're preaching, you know? No, I don't want fake personal trainers. I don't want ones that are just doing Instagram videos and then their life's a shambles. I want someone that's that's them.
Thank you. That's a great answer, man. It's really important. Because this is what I'm saying to all of my peers. I'm like, if we're counselors, we need to be practicing what we preach.
Yes.
When I'm looking for a personal trainer, same as you, so I've got this shoulder injury, which is why I'm moving around doing all this. Like I'm looking for people who can move in better range than I can move, who they look well, you can see it and feel it, and their body's well. So what they're balancing is we know that counsellors need to be on some level of recovery and knowledge of self, and they're really doing that out there at the Western Sydney Master of Counselling and Psychotherapist, at the compromise of some maybe fundamental counselling skills like what to do, but from that degree, I was really lucky, man. I picked up this role at Child and Family Therapy. One step before that, I was at Mission Australia doing gambling counselling with Matthew.
That's
Matt.
important. That's very important.
And because Matt wasn't my on paper my supervisor. Oh no, I've forgotten her name. I had to, and these two, it was like the mum and dad of that place. Clinical supervision. They sharpened me like hell. That was 2016. They really taught me about human behaviour, people counselling. Then I got into family therapy.
So just 1 second, for my understanding is just hold that thought for a moment. You did a lot of deep shadow work, but then as you progressed, you started to sharpen your skills in helping others and knowing the bounds of how to help them and how to put
skills.
Because we got to be. It's very important to know that, especially in counselling, there's a lot of. It's a very intimate relationship.
Yes.
So there is process and protocol.
Yes.
And the thing is, so you went through deep shadow work and then you're sharpening all those other skills to know how to project, maybe projection's the wrong word, but how to bring that forward. What's the bounds? Go this way, go that way.
Yes.
How to set up that whole thing to help that person as much as possible. But I'm going to bring it back to something that's very important, which is you did the shadow work first. So you understood yourself. It's like, imagine.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Imagine you go through and you're learning all these technical things, but then you go to see a client and then they're talking about stuff that's making you shake and tremble inside, and you can't deal with that.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
Exactly.
So, and one thing I want to...
It's a big problem.
It is.
A big problem.
When I've only seen a psychologist, a couple of psychologists in my life. I went to see a psychiatrist. Psychiatrist. They fucking just prescribed. This guy just prescribed me medication. I didn't take it. I didn't want it. But when I go to see someone, let's say for psychotherapy work, which I've never, but I'm interested in, I would want someone that I can relate to, but that's done shadow work themselves, that understands. And that's why my mentor was a massive impact for me, because he was a man that was doing the work on himself and understood people because he's lived it.
Yes.
You don't want someone, especially, let's go back to a physiotherapist, goes, do these exercises and you'll feel great. No, mate, I've got a fucking pain here. No, just do this exercise. No.
Yeah.
And then, but you get really good ones that would get in and say, why do you have that there for? Where's that coming? Let's see this, let's see that. And you get a whole holistic. I think holistic is a whole.
Yeah, you've caught this really well.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation a few times recently. No one's caught it as good as you, man. And just the importance of the integrity of doing the work yourself.
Yes.
Being about it. So what I was, just because you mentioned psychologists aren't trained in the art and science of counselling.
Interesting, man.
Unless they specialise in it. So they're trained in knowing the DSM and how to diagnose, and some very, there's no shadow work in it for them. There's no self stuff. And a lot of the other, so I don't know if Western Sydney is still like this, man, but when I was there and I was teaching there, I was teaching there in 2021, 2022, so it was still like that in 2021, 2022. They do it this way, the protocol. Call it a protocol, man, in order. There's an order. And the order is know yourself first, understand, and then learn the skills. Yeah. So that's true to what I think the essence of psychotherapy was trying to be about. It's this thing. But then we've got the current just give me a second. We've got the current modes of understanding and treating human health in society right now. So I'll use the word like allopathic. There's the allopathic or the medicinal model, which is what the DSM is born out of. So the DSM, it'll say ADHD. So ADHD is a description of a cluster of symptoms.
I think it's thrown around too much.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I think it is, bro.
Well, listen to this, man. It's a description of a cluster of symptoms. symptoms. So then what's the cause? The cause is this whole other thing.
Yes.
But we go, let's look at these symptoms.
Yes.
There's a problem. Okay, we can medicate it or we can treat it, but nothing's done about this. So psychotherapy was meant to be about this. But because the world has gone allopathic and medicinal, it's affecting how training. So the training is starting to become all about this symptom-based techniques and nothing about the whole human being. So other counselling degrees, you've got, here are all these skills, CBT, whatever, and then you've got people who I think they must have good hearts because that's why they're in this space, and
I don't doubt that.
and they want to help.
Yes.
But when I used to say to some of the students regarding this integrity and regarding who would you choose as a personal trainer, I can see it's making a lot of people uncomfortable. And then, but what it makes me think is, well, what's the thinking here? Is the thinking that we're all good and people I see is the problem and I'm there to fix them, but everything, lacking the knowledge of yourself, you can do so much harm.
Oh, yeah.
So much harm. Incredible amounts of harm.
A lot of people don't know themselves.
No.
A lot of people don't know.
I'm still discovering
We
myself.
are. I think that's a big part of your life. But a lot of people really don't. You ask them, who are you?
Yeah.
This like, no, who are you?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't sit in silence. I genuinely, like, a lot of people had issues being with themselves during lockdown. I had no problem. I have no problem. Yes, I've got a massive backyard, but even if I was locked in a unit just with myself, I've got no issue. Because I feel like I know myself. I'm not trying to run away from anything, you know, and there's just a whole heap of things. I think a lot of people have created these lives where they're just running away from really going down that path and discovering who they really are. So you're creating all these distractions, scrolling on the phone, dopamine hits, all this type of stuff.
Man. Okay. Yeah, let's spend some time here, man, because this is.
I love dopamine.
This is an important one.
Dopamine's awesome.
Stillness, yeah.
But stillness, yes.
So there's this idea. So the allopathic medicinal way is like, it makes people think of counselling as a drug. You do it, it's this tablet, it'll fix you. So same thing as stillness and meditation. You do stillness and meditation and you're going to feel bliss and everything's going to be amazing and you're going to fix everything. But one of the purposes of stillness is to meet. So this is how I help people with ADHD, not everyone. ADHD sometimes is we can't focus, lots of distraction.
Yeah.
So then the psychotherapy will say what's happening in the unconscious that might be motivating inability to be still. And it's not always a psychotherapeutic cause. It can be biological. It can be many different things. So when we sit still and we're not distracted, which is really hard because this society, there's all these things stimulating our dopamine. So we've got a conditioned, very strong muscle not to be still. It's our notification, it's the coffee, it's the next food, the next stimulation. So it's really hard to be still.
Yes.
There's so many clients, man, that my job is to walk really slowly next to them around being still again or learning how to be still. And it's super challenging. And when you're still, what comes up are the questions and the uncomfortable thoughts and feelings that your temple and your spirit is wanting you to address.
Yep.
But for a lot of the time, it's too uncomfortable, so we're running away from it. We're distracted. So you're saying, I'm aware of some of those things so I can be by myself. That's part of what my interpretation of or how I was catching what you're saying, right? So for many of us, if all of a sudden we have to stay home, we're sitting with self. And what is self? I just remembered something, man. This thing about there's a connection between here and the connective tissue is this idea that life is about being happy. You know this idea life is about happiness.
Yeah.
But then we go, what do you mean about? Like so if we analyze anyone's life, Nick, you, me, anyone, analyze, we say, what's happened in your life? There's going to be an equal amount of, there'll be joy and there's beauty and there's love, but there's also tragedy and suffering and pain.
Misery.
Yeah, misery. That's right. It's the light and the dark, right?
Of course, man.
So life is. I'm not sure about the statement. Life is about happiness, but what we lack is a so you know I said this connective tissue. So what we were talking about, that's the tissue, and then there's this dot here. We lack the knowledge which was given to us in our Indigenous cultures via spirituality or religious beliefs, that there is both. But you know the spirituality and the religious beliefs give us a container, the greatest container, a meaning, the container's meaning, that holds the tragedy and the suffering and loss in life. And when you don't have that container, and you have a trauma, and you go, what the fuck? Why? It gets dark, man. It gets really scary. And but this is the reason why post-traumatic growth, people find the a version, whatever that container is for them. So lots of what I'm seeing in my practice is a misunderstanding of the purpose of stillness.
Yep.
And a fundamental inability for all of us to be still because of these dopamine stimulants everywhere. And I try and share with people entertainment, all entertainment, social media, everything, our foods, 90% of it wasn't in the grocery store 100 years ago. They've all been engineered, like chemically, scientifically, by the world's leading scientists to grab our attention and our focus. Because, you know, ADHD is about attention.
Yeah. Certain colours, certain phrases, certain words, where it is everything.
Yeah.
They have these experts literally that understand exactly what you do, that puts it forward to grab everyone else's attention and to push them that way.
Yes. And we've got to bring our mind to what is that conditioning in us.
Yeah.
It's an inability to be present. And it's a reason why we're easily manipulated.
You know what I've noticed about you? Still, how much do you actually still write like that?
Like what, bro?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like using a notebook and writing down notes and stuff.
It's very important to me, bro. I need it, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are losing the gift of actually writing and putting pen to paper and letting it come out. Everyone's typing, texting. Even now, people aren't. So I feel like that's a massive connection still, because as you're writing, it's not like you're putting something digital. It's actually you're putting ink to paper. I don't know. It's just I've just noticed that because people don't write and there's no handwritten notes anymore. At work, a lot of people are typing on OneNote and whatnot, but there's still a lot of old school people that are still, I don't know, I've gone on a tangent, but it's very...
No, I'm going to meet you here. It's good.
People need to fucking get a pen and you need to write and not type, and you need to write.
Yeah. The people that employ me to help them are probably sick of me saying, I reckon you should get a journal, bro. Do you write? I was asking, because I was nervous, my first podcast, right? So I was asking Peter, bro, you got any tips? Like I'm trying to ask him, he's done so many podcasts. And I was telling him, man, I am probably going to need something to write with, just because you're following how our conversation's going. I need something to... And I was nervous about bringing this here. Like, will I look silly? And then I just... obviously, bro. Acceptance, just accept how I'm at and where I'm at.
You see... But yeah, go.
There's... Well, no, did you want to say what you want to say?
What I was going to say is I was writing when I first started, but then I stopped. And that's because we're just talking. If I need something, I actually don't even know. I journal and then I lose the book. I don't even know where it is. So if anyone finds my journal, they'll see the deepest, darkest secrets in there. But one thing that I noticed is I understand how I think by writing.
Yes, preach.
Not when I'm typing on OneNote. I'm writing and then it gets messy and then I get a highlighter, I circle something, I do a big fuck off line over there and I'm putting an arrow over there. I go to the next page. So when I look back on my journal, when I look back on my notes or anything like that, I actually see how I'm feeling at the time as well, just by the way that the words are put on the paper, how big they are, how small they are, what type of animations that I'm putting in there. Am I drawing? Am I scribbling? Am I drawing circles? And I find it's just a mad brain dump when you go there and you're just like letting it come out, because it's actually quite animated. Yeah. And that's one thing that I've actually noticed in the last, some little time, so to understand myself through that process.
That is so important. What you're saying is so important, and I'm so glad you're saying it, because I'm sick of saying it, man. Is like how you've understood yourself. So what we know as counselors, psychotherapists, there's a way that we unpack us and we unfold what we think and feel and process. There's a way we process that we can't do in our head. We're just thinking. and it's by talking. So talking is this new way of, you can't do it just in here. It's next level, incredible, etc. And the second best is writing. You can't do it without writing. And you nailed it, man. When you were like, when I was writing, I was Darren's words, I was unpacking stuff. I was figuring stuff out. I was learning stuff that I couldn't do otherwise. As we're talking now, there's a couple of different areas coming up for me. So where we're up to in the story was Western Sydney, how incredible that this training was, and I'm so thankful I ended up there. I got into family therapy, and I was a practitioner for about a year and a half, and then I was really good at it. And I think part of it was because my values around seeing the family, so the greater ecology. So the idea of a child has a bad behavior, so fix the child is a very symptom-based allopathic way to view things. But the Western way is, if the fish is sick, you don't dissect the fish and medicate and drug and surgery the fish. You check the water, you check the environment.
Yeah.
So the environment, the first environment is the relationship, the family. So I love family therapy, man. It was, I became really good at it. I was identified for that, and they said, Darren, we're opening up a project. It's a world first for this particular modality in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community in Canberra. Do you want to go? And initially I was like, fuck Canberra, man. When you're in Sydney, what you think about Canberra isn't much. You think it's cold, it's boring and that. I ended up falling in love with Canberra because there was no traffic. I had my first 2 children there. I was home from work early. I swam in the rivers. I climbed the mountains. I picked psilocybin mushies from Men's Business Mountain there, where they grew particularly in that mountain. It was just too cold, man. That's why I'm in the Sunshine Coast now. Well, it was too cold, but COVID being there, and with the perspectives my family and I had, it was really hard. It lacked community. There was no sunny coast where I am now in Brizzy. It's all my people, man. It's all our people. Freedom fighters, free thinkers.
Yeah.
But a couple of things that were coming to my mind that I wanted to touch on. So 2018, I ended up in Canberra, and this is where 1-4's song went pretty big. Do you know 1-4 from Penrith? Islander boys. So there was this drama when I was growing up between in the Pacific Island communities among the younger lads. You have a different postcode and you have your gang, and then you go around beefing each other.
Yeah.
So this was like the Mountie boys. They made a crew. They made a it was a crew, but then it's also like a rap group.
Yep.
And Western Sydney changed, man. And I wasn't in Western Sydney. I was in Canberra at the time, and I was getting phone calls from the communities that I was in, because people knew that I was in mental health, and they knew that we don't want our children getting involved in drugs and gangs and all these kind of things. So I'm gonna go 2018, Western Sydney, and this we can call it a social issue, crime and violence, and gangs.
Yeah.
And then just go back to the Pacific Islands for a second. And so this is a story that I have to tell in a loose way, because it's sensitive, as family and as family members and things. So I'm with a family member, like a bro, in the islands, and he's showing me one of our uncles, and uncle's about 60. He's lean, he's fit, he's strong, bro. I don't think he has a family for himself, and one of his job is to serve the family. He does all the yard work. There's a few acres, bro. There's a lot of work, man. Doing all the outside cooking, so the traditional cooking, like lovos or the umos. So you kill the animal, you clean the animal, taking care of the bananas and the coconut trees, all this work. He's a very strong guy, right? My brother's telling me, see, uncle, he's so fit, bro. Look at him, no medicine, no gout, no diabetes, no anything. I'm very proud, and I'm like, yeah, bro, fucking oath. He's a fucking soldier, right? But what I said to my bro is because I'm listening to this, but I'm hurting, bro. I'm deeply hurting, because when I was in the islands last couple of years, it's so sad, bro. I'm like, this shouldn't be the exception. Like, uncle like this, so fit, so strong, he's 60, shouldn't be the exception. So our elders are mobile. They're overweight. They have diabetes.
Yep.
They have so many health diseases and issues, and because it's gone like that for maybe just under 100 years or whatever, my people are digesting this as this is who we are.
Yep.
This is what we are.
Yep.
So one of my bros recently, and he's probably gonna uppercut me once he watches this, but he hit me up like, bro, weirdest thing happened. My foot was sore, and it turns out it's gout. So you know gout? Do you know what gout is? So it's in our community. It cripples us. So
Yep.
it's the crystallization of uric acid, which
Yep.
is mainly from alcohol and meat.
Yeah.
So I said to him, I said, brother, we can fix this. Don't worry. But this bro is from a different universe to me. We're like this, but I'm in counselling land. He's different land. So he thinks I just talk all this hippie shit. He thinks I'm full of shit. So he's like, bro, I just have this fob curse. I just have the phobo curse, and it pains me, bro, because it's like, no, this is that enlightenment colonial shadow. It's how it affects us unconsciously. We believe we're less than. We believe we're diseased, and we're not diseased. It's our lifestyles. It's things that we're doing. So in the islands, bro, a symptom that we're in trouble is our elders are dying early, and they're not well. And then so it takes us to this story of well, what's the problem? The problem is false knowledge, man. When we had the knowledge of our ways of being and knowing, we were, I think, some of the strongest and most intelligent humans in history. I've seen photos of Samoans in like the 1800s playing kiliki, like Samoan cricket. Bro, they look like the Hulks, man. These like 70-year-olds.
They're warriors.
Yeah, like insane.
Strong people, mate.
But it's very hard to find a 70-year-old moving like this these days.
Exactly, but we all know why.
Yeah, and I'm speaking into it, man. I can get a lot of trouble talking like this about our community, but it's important that we are operating under eat 3 times a day. So in the Indian way, they say in like Ayurvedic way, our medicine.
Yeah.
If you eat 3 times a day, you're a cesspool of disease. That's what they say. If you eat 2 times a day, your whole thing is you take pleasure. You like pleasure. If you eat 1 time a day, you're like a yogi, because when you're fasted, you have much more capacity and space for the spiritual, the emotional.
Yes.
So and that's the Indian, but it's the same thing. Next time I'm on a podcast, I need to remember all these proverbs. But I saw a Samoan proverb. My partner, the queen mother of my children, she's Samoan. So my 3 children are Samoan. That's why I'm speaking about Samoa.
Beautiful.
I've got family and cultural obligations. I treat Samoa like it's my own people.
Of course.
So there's this proverb, and it was like, how do you measure a chief? And it was the way that you measure a chief. This is a really loose translation, is via his temple. So what how his body looks, and his diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
And bro, even the chiefs in Indian and Fijian, we don't look like, if you were to measure us by our diet and lifestyle and our bodies, but this proverb is pretty much saying you're a proper chief if we can measure you like this, and if you're not a proper chief. So this is an example of the real knowledge. If we had the knowledge of our ancestors and our ways, we wouldn't be in this problem. So bring this back to 2018, bro. We've got the community of Pacific Islands and Māoris in Southwest, in Sydney, murdering and stabbing and killing each other and promoting violence. And it's sad, bro. It is really sad. We have an enemy. We have an enemy, and our enemy doesn't look like us. Our enemy isn't your cousin. It isn't someone from another postcode. I talk about this relationship stuff. So a proverb across culture through times was things like, united we stand, divided we fall.
Yep.
So this is substantiating what post-traumatic growth is showing us. What the opposite to addiction is human connection. United we stand, divided we fall. The enemy that we have is making the men, my people, fight each other. So division.
Brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor.
Yeah,
it's happening everywhere.
And it's weakening us.
Yeah.
That's when we're at our weakest.
Look at it on a global scale.
Yeah, definitely. COVID, all of it.
Well, look
Left
at it.
versus right.
Look at the left versus right.
Yeah.
Have a look at Middle East right now.
Yes.
No one talks about that, but look what's going on there.
Yes.
Or the division. Look at the Balkans.
Yeah.
You got Serbians fighting Croatians, fighting Bosnians. Why?
When I reference enemy, this is what I'm talking about.
Exactly. There's one common enemy for all, bro.
Yeah, and the enemy knows what makes us strong and what makes us weak.
Yeah.
And it's pitting our warriors against each other. Like,
imagine if all religions and all people united together in this world, what would happen? Just imagine.
Hey, can we talk about this for a second? Because I think about this a lot.
No,
I think about this a lot, man. Because I think the underlying motivation of oneness is for this.
Yeah.
Are we all good? Some of that is because the solution is to be together.
Yeah.
But what in ancient indigenous cultures acknowledge and I think are promoting is. Yes, togetherness, but it's got to be with some kind of sophisticated interrelations and honouring of the diversity. So allowing an orange butterfly to be an orange butterfly and a purple one to be, allowing the different type of ants to be the different type of ants they are, but work together, as opposed to we all need to look, dress and talk and have the exact same belief.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at, man, is how do we unify whilst honouring diversity? And the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, the Aboriginal Australians had figured this out beautifully.
Interesting.
And I cannot do it any justice. I'll just say that book Sand Talk by Tyson Yunkaporta.
You're gonna have to send me that. You're gonna have to send it to me.
Yeah, just to everyone, bro. He's a real genius, man. That guy. He's as I'm saying, he's a real genius. I mean, probably everyone's. All of his people are geniuses, but he's really articulating it. He's putting it in a book. So this thing started kicking off at 2018, and it's become part of why I went into private practice.
Yeah.
So the other part is that my mum used to say this thing to me. She used to go, "Charity begins at home," and she'd say it to me like if she's trying to shame me into doing something at home. I think, but one of the ways that I used to catch it is the job that I do is like charity, because they don't know what counseling wasn't a normal job for my family, like what I'm picking. So then it's like I need to take these gifts that I have and these tools and this training and now serve my people. But I couldn't do that when I was employed. Yeah, the other reason why I left employment, well, like the main reason at the time was they asked me to take the jab and I didn't take it. They said,
okay.
And if I can do one little circle around that, my partner, fiance, I proposed last Sunday after all these years.
Oh, God bless you, man. God bless you.
So I could say fiance. My fiance in 2015, 16, somewhere around like 2015, 16, said, "Come with me to this conference." I didn't know what the conference was. I thought it was like a parenting thing, and it was Taylor Winterstein. Have you heard of Taylor Winterstein? Proper freedom fighter, bro. Proper, yeah. Everything that her and Frankie and their family do, they're like OGs.
Oh, Winterstein.
Yeah.
Frank. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yes.
You know Frankie?
Yeah. I know of Frankie. Yes. That's what. Okay. So that's surname. Yes.
Yeah. So Frankie's wife Taylor.
Okay.
So she had organised this conference in somewhere in like Campbelltown, and but it was like a country club. It was a nice place, and there were these I don't know if they were doctors or deregistered chiropractors. And there were these people speaking about vaccines, basically that what we know about vaccines is incorrect and they're causing a lot of harm. And because, I've shared my story, man, I was already on the outside of society, already questioning many things. By that stage, I had gotten into fasting, and fasting had really sent me off in the deep end, because once I realized I wasn't going to die if I didn't eat, I started thinking, oh man, everything is off.
I didn't eat for 4 days when I did my spiritual activities. Didn't eat for 4 days. There's been people that don't eat for a lot longer than that.
How much does it affirm the stories are wrong though?
Well, I know of people, I've got to say this, that haven't drunk water for 7 days straight. And I can introduce you to these people. They did not drink water for 7 days straight, and they didn't die. I'm not saying that people shouldn't drink water.
Yeah, dry fasting.
But really, because it does something. These things do something. There's a reason for it, and especially when you don't drink water, and you go on a vision quest or whatnot, you're also evaporating and allowing everything to come out, especially all emotions.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And especially with the not eating food, the physical body, all this has purpose. All of the sages, Jesus, the other ones, everyone, I'm just going to say Jesus because that's in my beliefs, but everyone's gone out into the forests, into the mountains, fasting, all these things, and they get gifted visions and they start to understand who they are and they come back to preach, and then everyone's like, oh my God, we can't listen to this, So
it's like I don't think, I think I have to talk about fasting another day. So all I'm going to say is
we're not going to have time for fasting, bro. That's all good.
It's like it opened a portal. I just did a 7-day fast with Peter, and one part was dry fast, and it was something happened on that fast. But for another time, because I want to shout out Taylor Winterstein and the work they did there, man. Because I was at this conference and it was legitimate, credible people, and it was, so it's put me on this road then, 2016. Vaccines are off. I started collating information, studying it, got into children's health defense, followed Kennedy, Robert Kennedy.
Yep. They all do fantastic work.
The reason why my children are one big piece of how I've raised my children is in this particular way, and I can see how healthy and strong and just different they are to the children around them is because of Taylor's work at the time.
Yeah.
So when when all this thing kicked off, I don't know if I should have said my company's name, but anyway, when they asked me to take the jab, and I said no, I can't, and this was my departure.
We can take out the name, don't worry.
Yeah, no, I think it's all right because everyone's gonna know I'm from there. Thanks, man.
That's okay.
And then then the thing after nights of actually I should speak to this. Man, I didn't sleep. I had 2 toddlers and nothing. There was no money. There was no work. There was nothing. And I was talking to Peter about homelessness. I thought there's a risk here. We're going to be on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this
is important.
It was very scary, man. And the stories in my community at the time, the Indian, Fijian, Pacific Islander one was, don't be a bitch, take the jab. So if you're going to choose between feeding your family or taking an injection so you can feed them, what are you going to choose, basically? So, and I was afraid of the shame of what my partner's mother and father will think.
No, that's tough.
What everyone was going to say, what kind of man is this? But then I started getting these whispers and these callings of, Darren, this is the next step. Once I took the leap of faith, you want to serve your community. There's this, you can see things happening with your men and your people, and you can't help them.
Yeah.
And the scariest leap of faith I've ever done in my life, and God caught me, man. Like I went into private practice, and I told the people in Canberra, I'm in private practice. I was in Canberra at the time. Darren, bro, you're in private practice. We'll send you this family. We'll send you this client. We'll send you this. Yeah. And those people that sent me my first referrals, I tell them every day how much love I have for them, man.
You spoke to something that's very important. Peter also spoke about that, and it's very difficult when you have a family, even if you're by yourself. When we were faced with that decision, I personally, and I'll be upfront with this, do not accept, and this is mine. This has got nothing to do with anyone else. This is my views. I do not accept that no one had a choice. Everyone had a choice in what they were going to do. And when people tell me I didn't have a choice, I had to take it to work. Yeah, you fucking did have a choice. That's my opinion. Why? Because you have to face that. If you're going to go and do something that you truly do not believe in, it's going to come back to you at some point in time. Because this is, as you said, we're facing a common enemy. Well, that's the common enemy. And the whole thing was devised to manipulate, to plan, to see responses, how we would go and what would happen, to push us into an age where we're fucking even further. Like, this is nothing compared to where we're going to go, bro. And this is, I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, and they're like, Daniel, Stodgy, you're so intense. I'm not fucking intense. I can see where we're going to go. You think we're lost now? You wait till 10 years from now. I go to my mum, hey, don't worry about what, you had it. You had lived fantastic. Wait for the kids. What they're not going to know who they are. They're not going to know their families. They're going to be raised by the system. They're going to be inflamed.
Well, it's on us, man. It's on us.
It is on us. So I'm going to come back to saying, when people say, "Oh, we had no choice," I had one guy when I bought my vehicle. He goes, "Oh, I got the jab, so I'll go get a haircut." And I felt to myself, you weak fucking person. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say this because this is my podcast. Cancel me, do whatever the fuck you guys want. I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm not going to hide anymore. Fucking weak. Are you serious? Because you wanted a haircut? If you want to take it, that's fine, you can. And people believe in the science, and that's fine. But do not say you just took something like that so you could go and get a haircut. Are you fucking serious? Leave that guy aside. I'm going to say this for yourself and other people, and they've heard it before, but I made a decision at the time that I was going to take it, and I was prepared to die. I was prepared to go back to Creator, go back home. And I stand by that. I stand by with monkeypox. I stand by with everything else that's coming and whatever. I will, again, make that decision where if it's not in my interest, in my heart, I will set up my family as best as I can, but I'm prepared that if I need to, I lay down the ground. And that's what I think us as men and us as people in our community, we need to take that stance and go forward. And it's a battle that we're facing, bro. If people can't see that, this is a battle for humanity.
Yes. So many important layers, bro. You see how I can relate to something you said there. You said, I'm going back to Creator.
Yeah.
So it means as you weighed this up, you had God. You had a connection to something greater than this. And that was me too. When I was making this decision, I was considering my soul, and I was considering my children, and I was thinking, obviously, so I don't know what's on this podcast and what's not. So I live with Peter, because I'm always talking about him in the last hour. So, he's Egyptian. So we chop it up about everything all the time. So he's teaching me the Kemetic way, which is not unsimilar to the Indian way, but it's how your soul gets weighed against Smart's feather.
Yes.
And it's and the not your soul, your heart. And it's about, did you choose what was correct over what was expedient or what was so I seen this as a choice, man. And I seen this, I don't know what is going on here. But I feel strongly not to take it. And I felt like so many things. I had to model this for my children. I had to not choose fear. I had to follow the information that I had. So but I couldn't have probably done it without that deepened spiritual or religious knowing.
That's the thing, bro. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. When you're stuck in this world and, oh my God, my freedoms are people said, one guy said to me, and this was from a Sikh Punjab Indian, okay? He goes, I want my freedom back. And I looked at him. I said, brother, you do this, you'll lose your freedom forever. You're already free. We're already free.
Bro, remind him of the wars in Punjab, bro.
I get reminded by a shout out to Anup. He talks to me about this because I love talking about religion to people, and we're going to go further, deeper into when we do our part 2. But he tells me, I say, tell me about your stories. And then he tells me about the persecution and what happened then. I'm like, fuck, that's crazy. And that's why I understand that warrior nature that comes from them and why they hold themselves up to such high esteem. It's such a beautiful way of life and beautiful people. But the thing is, when people say, I wanted my freedom, you didn't get freedom by doing that. That's bullshit. And with this new disinformation bill and all this type of stuff of what I'm saying now is
passed?
I've got they're going to pass it, bro. The thing is, what I'm saying now will eventually get flagged and bang, done. Well, fuck it. I don't care. I'm never going to stop saying what I believe is my truth and what I actually believe is the truth, not just my truth. It is the truth.
It's very important, man.
And fuck it, I identify as free. Fuck you all. In the new age, with everything, how we identify, I identify as free. Fuck you all.
I have a ton of compassion for being afraid and censoring ourselves, because I go through versions of that.
Of course, you have to a little bit.
And then I also know, where does this knowledge come from? Part of it is, Jordan Peterson, he gets a bit off sometimes, but some of his true core essence of his work, he really quantifies how important it is to speak truth. It is as soon as we start censoring ourselves, it's over. And in psychology, there's this thing that they do. If you go to a psychologist, you can start, what they're wanting to do is make you feel responsible in your life.
Yeah.
Because the only way out is from what are you going to do and what are you not going to do. What that kind of does accidentally sometimes is it can feel like you're being blamed for it all. It's all on you.
Yeah.
And from the Indigenous perspective of it's test the water before the fish. We can't blame the fish for the water, right? But you know how you're saying, like, I can see where this is going and it is bad. And you're not wrong, man. There's many futures ahead of us, but it is on us.
It is
us,
on us.
30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. We're the next elders. You know, we gotta.
It's us
homeschooling my children, all of that. Man.
It's us teaching our children, but it's on us.
Yeah.
And to all these, you know, toy boys out there, soy boys, whatever, these men. I'm not even saying men that are out there partying, don't give a fuck, and all this stuff, mate. You'll see. I can already see where this is all going, and it's 2030. It's coming. And everyone's like, oh, conspiracy theorists. That's fine, brother. Yeah. All you people, you'll see. All I'm going to say is I'm preparing in myself. And we will navigate the best way that we possibly can through that. But the amount of shit that's coming, like you can see now, they're talking about the Third World War was going to start, was going to be in the Middle East. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty sure that I've read that. So you can see now it's not stopping. It's picking up.
One of the legislations they were trying to pass, and I don't know if they've passed it, but it was if we go into a state of emergency, the World Health Organization can come in and they just do whatever they want. They trump our own national, state, and territory laws.
I think that's. I don't know if that's passed, but they were talking about it.
Yeah, that is insane. Man.
Yeah.
That's like gas chambers. Whatever they want to do doesn't matter. There's no human rights. It's their law and that's it. So. The people are calling us conspiracy theories, but just look at the legislation that they're trying to pass.
Which I'm going to get some more people on to talk about that. And Peter was a fantastic person to talk about that. Now you can see, bringing it back to the work that you do in psychotherapy and whatnot. If people were to do the shadow work and to understand, they're no longer shackled by that. They're free. So the more people that we can go out there and shine light on who they really are,
yes,
which is the most important fact in everything, knowing who you are, where you come from.
Yeah.
That's something no one can ever take away from you.
I enjoy that this work is leading people to a deepened connection to each other, this earth and the source of life. Because when we have those three things, then we're strong, man. And you and I, we weren't manipulated. Why? Because we had a strength within ourselves. And to the source of life. So, you know, this work is, for those that are tracking the cutting edge and not the mainstream, is giving us the answers. And it's easier for people to digest answers through the Western discourse, as opposed to me talking about Hinduism and all these different things and what I reckon. Yeah.
Very interesting, bro. Very interesting. You know what? I feel like we're going to have to wrap this one up because I want to get you. We'll do a part two.
Okay.
We'll do a part. This was fantastic. What I want is, where can people find you? How are you available? Do you do just tell me a bit about that. So you run your own business. Do you want to talk about that?
Man, I have I have a lot of clients, man. It'd be hard for me to take any more one-on-one clients at the moment. But I have a website. It's lionwellness.com.au.
Lion Wellness. I like that. Why lion?
So my surname is Singh. That means lion. And so that's homage to India. It's in the color orange, which was a color of self-determination and one's agency. Wellness is in aqua blue, which is homage to my Fijian roots.
Beautiful.
And it's like you need the heart of the lion to obtain the wellness you seek.
Yeah.
We're not mucking around. Now I can make space for people. Where I'm at now is I'm doing trainings and clinical group supervisions.
You got to grow, brother. You have to grow.
Yeah.
Not necessarily doing one-on-ones, but there's other avenues and there's other things which I can see for you and you can see for yourself that will come.
Thanks,
bro. Grow.
Thanks for asking this question and thank you for shouting me out. That's my practice, and you'll see me. I'll probably be on your socials, like the Instagram. That I'm not on Instagram because I don't need it to make business. I got a lot of work from just my contracting and relationships.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, you're right. Because this story of Darren's life is still going, but I'm happy to close it now. Thank you for having me. It's my first one.
Yeah. It's almost 2 hours, brother.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I thought we were under an hour.
Under an hour? Nah, bro. Almost 2 hours.
Okay.
But I feel...
True.
The reason why I want to close it off there is because Nick's just run out of the room. I don't know where he's gone. He's probably checking on his daughter.
Nah, 2 hours.
No, but
It's a
The
long
thing
time.
is, there's so much more, and I want to encapsulate this. It's done at that point. Now let the rest ferment and grow.
Yes.
And then you'll come on. You and Peter will come on for a part 2 at some stage.
Yeah, love to do
But
that.
that's very important there, man. But don't stop doing the work that you're doing. You've definitely not triggered. You've shone light on a couple of things in myself there in a very good way. Things that I've already known, but also I can see that if I'm an engineer, that's my job, but I'm deeper than that. I'm not a psychotherapist, not a counselor. I'm not proclaiming to be one, but a lot of the work that I do with people, which is relationship building, is very similar to that. So shadow work, and I enjoy building people. I enjoy building people up. And especially in my work, whenever I get a young engineer that comes across, especially like a Noop and other ones out there, they want to progress. All right, bro, break it down. This. And it's not just engineering tasks. It's fucking life. It's this, it's that. It's sharing meals together. It's all these little things that you can see that just truly help people to grow and understand. Because we, you know what I realized? I said to my mentor, and I said to him, I don't know if I want to. He's passed away, by the way, a Native American man. I said to him, I don't know if I want to be an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, why? I said, it's not spiritual. He started laughing and he goes, bro, it's spirit and everything, yeah? Everything's spiritual. And that's the essence of it. Every person that you talk to, every person, deals and relationships, everything, there's spirit everywhere. And when you are with people for 10 to 12 hours a day, I just started to say, fuck it. I'm just starting to really just shine my light and help people to build people up. And I've seen massive changes just through myself, you know, and that's important. So who knows, maybe.
Yeah. Now, can I just want to give you some flowers, man.
Go for it, please.
You asked me outside and I said, I don't want to start talking yet. Bro, and this is going to be a bit awkward because I don't have the words.
I love praise.
But there's...
Let's go, come on.
No,
go.
man.
Lay it on me.
So from the screen, and I've met you in person now. It's the first time meeting you in person. Something that I find was beautiful, was attractive about what you do and who you are. And I'm going to... I don't know how this is going to go, but... So for example, like, you know how like I line my beard up, right? Your beard is disheveled and your hair is disheveled on the thing, right? So there's beauty in that, bro. It's like this man here is comfortable in his skin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put words to it, right? So he's comfortable in his skin. There's a level of acceptance that he has, at least for himself. And then that's so for me, a little bit nervous to be in this space. It's very warm. It's very warming. It's very welcoming and inviting. And interesting. I'm like, I want to kick it with this guy, bro. I want to see, because the people that have a spirit like that, like you, they're my favorite people, bro. Those are the people you want to be around, not fake people. Okay, so it's a realness. Yeah. There's this image of a realness, bro, but that is very felt for Darren, and I'm sure others. That's what I was describing as beautiful. So thank you for having me, bro.
No, you know what, and what you said there, realness. That's what this is. That's what that is. That's what I want to bring forward, which is be real, be who you are, don't be fake. This is a real podcast. This is real people, real conversations, real issues, and it's genuine. We're not planning stuff. It's just let it fucking run. Yes. Let's have a chat. It'll grow. It'll go to where it needs to go. God has a plan. I know I'm feeling happier doing this. Yes. I've got 85 subscribers. I don't know who they are. Yeah. Could be multiple accounts that my mum's made to try and support me. I've got 50 views on a video. I've got 100 views on a video. It doesn't really, it's not a measure of my success. It is something that it's a journey for me, and it'll grow, and what will have to happen will happen, and I'm getting positive feedback. What you've just said, I think a lot of people don't do that because we don't know how people are going to feel or what's going to happen by giving praise or just saying. We need to build people up, and we need to. What's Jordan Peterson say? That a lot of people need just that little bit of what's that word that I'm looking for? It's escaped me. But just people just want a little bit of. It's been a long podcast that Aki is hitting me, but they just want a little bit. They just want a little bit. Sorry.
Now I'm trying to think too. What are they?
Yeah, it completely left me. But people just want a little bit of.
What happens when they get it? This thing.
It builds it. That's all they've been craving for. Is just a little bit of what's the word? You know, we're going to have like an extra 20 minutes just us trying to figure out it's completely escaped me.
It's what people want. It's what
Not praise, it's something else than praise. It's
acknowledgement?
Maybe acknowledgement, but we'll say that, just a little bit of acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And just, you need to build people up.
Yes.
You know, and that's the most important thing. I can't believe that I completely forgot I'm going to have to go find exactly what he said.
Yeah, drop it in the comments or something.
Well, I'll say it next time because it's always on my mind. But you know what? Acknowledgement, and also, you know what? We're gonna end it here, and then I might just fucking put a clip at the end, just saying exactly what it was, because it's right on the tip of my tongue. But
lots of love, man. Thank you.
You know what? Thank you very much
bro.
for having me on your podcast. You did most of the talking. It's a joke, bro. You can smile. Come on, bro. Relax. Anyways, thank you very much.
I don't look relaxed.
No, you do look very
Appreciate
relaxed,
you, bro.
Thank you very much. You know what?
Yeah.
You're a brother. You're a brother. You and Peter are brothers.
Yeah.
We're freedom fighters. Nick's a brother as well.
United we stand, divided we fall.
No, we're fucking falling together, mate. We're all of us together. We're gonna take on Klaus Schwab. I promise you this.
Let's go.
That's it. All right. Anyways, fucking Klaus Schwab, we're coming for you, man. I fucking promise
Watch
you, bro.
out, bro. I'm gonna have
We're
assassins at our
coming for
house.
you. Fucking Hitler looking motherfucker. Anyways, bye everybody.